Hello, hello. Okay, welcome. GooseFat27, how are you? Welcome to the stream. I'm still setting things up a little bit. We can go to this screen here. That works. Let me just play around with my balances a little bit so it sounds right in my head. Jeez, my hair's all messed up. I fucked up my beard this morning. Yeah, doing all right. Where are we at? Yeah, okay, I gotta set up my monitor. I'm casting my screen. It's my tablet. That's not what I want to do. I need to open up the Twitch manager. Oh my god. All right. Okay, let's try to make a game, shall we? I'll try to get more done than I did on Saturday. Saturday, I feel like I didn't really get much done. But, you know, we do our best. That's the main thing. Okay, let's bring this music down a little bit. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So the game jam didn't go well, and that's okay. I think I want to keep working on something. I don't know what it is, but I feel like the key is going to be the upgrade system, because that's a big part of what makes games like this fun. So if I can create a nice upgrade system where the upgrades feel good and you feel like you're getting stronger, and then I'll work on the enemies then after that. That's the two things that I'm sort of going for. I'm going to build out a prototype that's a little bit more bigger than the game jam game. See if we can find something there. And if the response to that is good, then we'll keep going. Otherwise, we'll drop the project, if you know what I mean. So that's the current plan. We'll look into that and we'll see how things go. That's sort of what I'm thinking. Goose gun, please. I don't know. Oh, goose gun, as in a gun that shoots gooses or a gun that is a goose? I can put that in for you at some point. It'll be a fair way down the line. It'd be pretty funny. But yeah, does it shoot gooses or is it a goose? Either or. Okay, we can do that. I think it'd be funnier if it was a goose. Maybe if it was a goose and you shot eggs, that'd be pretty hilarious. Make it like a little Easter egg. Make the auto save timer. That, 10 seconds. Okay, so last time we were on stream, we set up a quick little save and load, but we're using the resource saver. Now, if you guys know about Godot, you know that the resource saver is really good for saving resources, really good for saving anything, to be honest, because it is like, I don't know how to put it, like it's Godot aware. It's not just like a dictionary. It's not just text. It knows what a resource is and it can bring it back really well. So it's very compelling when you're trying to set up something that can persistently keep track of, you know, upgrades. Because that's where I decided to start for whatever reason, was I actually need to make sure that these kind of things stay in the world, because I guess like a part of like an upgrade system is maintaining that as you come back to play. So I just thought I got sticker and sound alerts going on my Steams. Sticker and sound alerts going. I don't know what you mean by that. On your stream? You got stream? I haven't ever actually checked your page, GooseFat. Maybe I should. You just play... What do you play? What is that game? Dude, what are you playing? Stream pairs? What is stream pairs? This is like a card game or something. I've never seen it before. Yeah, that's cool. Nice, nice. Awesome. All right. Oh man, I forgot to set up my YouTube. God damn. No. Monetization is turned off. How am I going to pay the bills? Classic. Details. Doesn't have a thumbnail. That's not good. There's no one watching anyway. It's so weird. I feel like one or the other. Either there'll be people watching on Twitch or people watching on YouTube, but never both. I don't know why. Anyway. So, resource saver. Let's get to work. So there is an add-on, I'm told, that can actually make the resource saver safe. I don't know what it's called. So I'm just going to type resource saver into the asset lib. See what I find. Nothing. Okay. I know it exists. I've seen it before. I did once. Awesome. Open up Brave. Resource saver encryption. Because I could do it myself. I have a fair idea of what, with encryption for saving and using Saver. Hello, Slacks, how are you? There is no safe ways to use resources for save games. Just don't. You genuinely don't need it. Collect your save data to a dictionary, which you were doing anyways, and then use file access save. But anyway. Pro to code injections. It's honestly not that bad. To be fair, not that I know of, but you want to serialize the data yourself. Resource saver add-on. I've seen it. Provide away without running scripts. Did you see GD's quiz on resource safety after you did one on resource file saves? Yeah, I've looked into it. I don't know if you were here, Slacks, on Saturday's stream, but I made a video on how to use the resource saver to save data, and then everyone jumped on me, and I didn't delete the video. I had to cut that part out, and like I did a ton of research into the resource saver, somewhere related to this. Yeah, did a ton of research into it, and it's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do it. Basically, there's a function called init, right, that gets called every time it gets loaded up, no matter what. I don't think there's a way that you can stop doing that. What you could do probably is, if you never wanted to use init in your resource saver, like maybe you could check it via, like, I don't know if you could pass it in as a string and then see if it's got the function in there, because that's what you do, as far as I'm aware. Where's look at GD Quest's video, because he's demonstrated it. I've actually tested it myself, so I've injected code into my own game just to see how easy it is. GD Quest resource saver, and it's not complicated. I was completely wrong.
I recently made 2 videos about saving the player's progression with resources in Godot. One of you pointed out how it's unsafe to use resources if player...
That's the function there, func_init. So that gets called when the resource is loaded, and you just put anything on there.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Sninko Games followed your channel.
Hey, what? What the hell? What was that sound? I'm so tripping out right now. Where did that come from? I don't think I've got anything open that would make that noise. There's a goose fat. Goose fat, I'm on your channel. I forgot to close the tab. Oh my god. Okay. Yes, so it's not safe. Basically, os.alert. You can run code, and then I guess you would just pass in, you'd use OS, because it has to be GD script, right? So like you can literally load up anything at that point, because you can use the OS to probably... So that's the problem. Now, I know that there's someone who's created me and not me. Yeah, I know it wasn't intentional. It's my fault. But so yeah, I know that this is a problem. I'm very aware of it. But I also know someone on GitHub created an add-on to essentially protect you from this. I wanted to look at that to see if it was like worth looking into. If not, I guess at the end of the day, we're just going to have to use like a JSON file or config. People use config, right? So basically, they say collect your data in a dictionary. That's like the typical way, and then save it however you want, probably as text or as a config file. But my biggest problem is I can't save other resources like that. So if I want to get back to them, hey Ozair, how are you? Then we have issues with that. So it's a lot easier if I just find that add-on that I know exists somewhere, somehow. Alrighty, where are you? Question about resources. Where's GitHub? I think this is the guy. He made a proposal, and then Ego Venture, official Godot docs have pointed out stored data can be dangerous, as resources can also hold scripts where executed when loading the resource later. That way malicious people can send a seemingly valid save game embedded malicious code. So basically, like, especially for online games, this is a problem. Small single player game, probably not a big deal, but just because you don't think people will doesn't mean you should just leave it in your game, if that makes sense. As it is required to load scripts from it can be required. Godot should feature a secure resource loader, which specifically skips loading, executing scripts from a resource, so developers can rely on resources as the most optimized method for storing secured data, structured data. And load secure method cleans the script from resource definitions. So basically it takes out like the init function, which is probably, if I was going to do this myself, that's what I would do. Like, just don't load init, or like find a way to, if it has init. When I was thinking about this, I thought, oh, well, you could just check to see if it's got the init function in it. I don't know how you could do that without loading it first. And then if it does, just don't load it. So yeah. Alternatively, we could implement this into load function of resource loader, adding a boolean secure parameter, yada yada yada. We've been discussing it a bit. This was 2 years ago, so I guess they haven't done it yet. And it should load scripts, because otherwise you lose the benefit of scripted resources. Ignore bundled scripts and external scripts. Beyond designing their own, maybe instead of like allowing scripts are not the only attack vector here, and it shouldn't be a resource. It should be a loaded decision, because otherwise the bad actor can still replace the script in your resource that allows it with their script. I mean, at this point though, which is why it should filter out scripts based on the quality while loading if they're bundled. So are they saying it's like your own problem? And then GD Quest is even in here saying this is a good idea, and he'd sponsor somebody. Once again, 2 years ago. Disallow embedding scripts with any kind of Godot resource format, be it resource scene or otherwise. Embedded script functionality. You can literally inject anything you want for, because that's the other thing that I also think about very often. Like, people say this is like resources are really unsafe, but like Godot projects in themselves are not that difficult to like disassemble and reassemble. So like, it wouldn't be that hard for someone, if your game was popular, to download it, put something in there, well, they decrypt it and then put something in there and then distribute it for free on some website like piracy, right? You're going to get a virus. It's really easy with Godot. And then, okay. This was proposed in the past. Since then, built-in scripts have been improved significantly. I think Readers is talking about config file here. Config file is good. That's my second choice. It was never intended to be used in this fashion, so any such use would be unsupported, so I might be reworking the documentation to discourage this practice or prevent them being saved and loaded outside of res. So a lot of people also say, hey, look, it's you. Is that you, Slacks? God damn, he's just in here. That's cool. So you don't think people should use it? I respect that choice because I can understand why. Like, it's pretty easy, and I guess it was never intended to be used that way. Fair enough. Should be like object input. The use of events, similar files should also be forbidden outside of. I think the problem is, like, people see it, right? Like, I see it and I go, this is great for me. It takes so little work. Personally, I don't see a problem with .res formats supporting script embedding. The only problem arises is format used for purposes for which it is not intended. Save files. What if you just saved it as a res? Because then it's binary. I suppose people could still just create a version of it. As mentioned above, you can safely use resources for external files, but you need to use resource former loader for that, not .tres.res. Okay. Custom resources require that, but maybe beyond this scope. Interesting. It's interesting to read all of this history. This is the OP, right? He's using it a lot. I wonder if he ever went ahead with that or if he changed it. I don't know. Ego Venture. Does the game exist or is it just like a dead project? 18 plus? Alright. Or just save the resource using file, not the resource saver, and encrypt it. Or since your save game boils down to just being a dictionary anyways. He's made commercial games with Ego Venture. What is it? I guess you're more familiar with this than me. Hey Mordechai Melius, how are you? Welcome to the stream, welcome back. But that isn't a topic for this issue. The topic is a glaring security problem. Okay. So basically, don't do it. It boils down to just use JSON. Or something, yeah, config file. That's so annoying though. I knew of him from AGS community a few years ago. Okay. Man, the community goes deep, eh? Aiken does as well. That's crazy. That's awesome. So you're a contributor, are you, to the Godot project? That's so cool. Load a whitelist. I think this is what I was looking for. How you doing, NA Games? These guys since last year Fire pegged me to reply to this issue. If you're interested, you can find the solution we use here. This feature was rejected from core due to security considerations, but I think other discussions are needed. I have been rewatching Technoblade. I haven't seen Technoblade. The store var thing doesn't have to be JSON. You don't get the annoying limitations like no Victor 2s. Yeah. I guess what I was looking for is mostly just the ease of storing resources. Because like my question is essentially like, if I want to keep track of the weapon, like how do I know what the weapon resource is? I guess I just need to store a path to it and like all its current variables. I guess. Like it's this particular blaster and then like that. But like I know that there's problems with that being in an exported project. So like it's easy for me to say like the resource lives here in weapon resources. But then when I export the project, that's not going to be available to anymore. I'm going to have to like provide a new path. And I don't know. But I suppose it's not that bad. just a lot of extra work. That's all. I'm pretty sure I've seen people do it. I've never done it myself, but they basically do a check to see if you're in engine or not, and then if you are, you load it via this path, and if you aren't, you load it by the PCK path. But I don't know. I've never done it before. I just save a reference to the resource. Seems to work fine when exported. At least to Windows. Okay. So maybe that works. Maybe that works. And then I've got scenes nested inside of the resource, which is my favorite part of it. But anyway, what I was really looking for in this is the fact that this guy actually created a solution. This is a custom build though, so it's probably a little bit more than what I was looking for. Like, I'd rather just beyond like an add-on. An add-on would probably be better. A custom build of the engine is just not what I'm looking to do. So while we suspect the above patch solves pertinent problem to resources in particular, it does not make the type of resources entirely secure. It is critical that scenes in particular be further validated in terms of node path or animations. Yeah, because ultimately anything can be embedded. So like, what weapon are we upgrading? We're working on the framework. Like we're so high, like beyond, like it's a very low level at the moment. Like, how can we get that information back? That's what I'm sort of interested in trying right now. So like, I can create a weapon upgrade system. It would just be probably a lot simpler than trying to figure out how to save that information. But say we have a weapon. We're probably going to need to create a resource, another resource, that can sit alongside of this and augment its behavior. And then within the model, have like, and this is a very simple, so this is what I'm thinking. So we have a really simple system right here. So it's a little bit easier to work with, but as it gets more complicated, we'll need bones and stuff. So imagine the weapon. Right, do you have anyone with you, like a friend? Who, me? No, I'm on my own. In this room right now, do you mean? Or just in life in general? So, like, we have a resource essentially, and then on this weapon, which is Blaster M, so this one here. So we have like bones on a more advanced mesh. We'll have like bones for like the sight. Maybe you attach a sight, maybe you modify the grip. How old am I? I'm 34. And all those kind of things like grip. And then there's a bunch of like upgrades that we can put within this to say like improve the performance of the weapon in some arbitrary way that aren't visually seen by the player. So, you know, okay, so there's a couple that we're going to need to like bring in meshes, and that's fine. We can handle that. And then there's others where we won't have to really do anything. So, well, we can handle all that, and it'll probably just be an additional resource that sits on the weapon. So this is why I'm so interested in trying to like figure out how to get the information back, because down the line it's going to be a lot. If I add another field here that's like upgrades, then it's going to be pretty challenging. But realistically, it's not that complicated. So we've got the, do we have a girlfriend? This is just a question. I am married. It's all good. I talk about it. I talk about my personal life on stream. It's all good. Okay, so we've got the weapon resource, right? And we've got weapon behavior. And then you can probably just like create another export category, export group. right? And we'll call it like weapon upgrades. And it will just be an export array, I guess you would, is it export var underscore weapon upgrades. Congrats. Thanks, man. And it'll be an array, and it will be of weapon upgrades, right? Which don't exist yet. Something like this. And then it's like, we can't find that type. So we just need to create a new folder. So let's, we've got the state machine, we've got the scripts. This is under the player controller. Probably gonna need to create like another folder. I'll just call it upgrades. And we can create a new script called, that will inherit from resource. And it will be called, where's the name? Weapon upgrades. Actually, you know what? I think it gets named with lowercase. I can never get it right. With an underscore in between. Am I storing modifiers in the resource? Yeah, probably. I think that's what I'm going to do. That's where my mind goes with this. But, like, ultimately, it's hard to say if that's the right decision because it's very early days, if that makes sense. Like, we've got a weapon resource and it has, like, weapon upgrades. How we get to them, how they influence the actual weapon, I don't know. You know? Because, like, say even a sight. Say if you put like a sight on a weapon, like how does the actual weapon know to like do a different animation depending on what's there, or like do something different, display something different? I don't know. Like, it's a lot of information that we're gonna have to pass up and down. Probably gonna be a bunch of signals. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I'll probably start with like different iron sights and stuff like that. That's probably the most. But isn't resource supposed to be read only? Am I wrong here? Are you behind on the resources are read only? That's okay though, because we're not like gonna be like when you get the upgrade. So you find on the ground, I don't know, like just picture a thing. You find like a laser sight for your weapon. So you can take that, you can pick it up on node sits in your inventory, and it is a weapon upgrade. And then when you go to your weapon and you upgrade it, you can take that weapon upgrade and put it on any weapon you want, and it will be inserted into this. So we're not really like changing the resource, even though they are read-only in a way. Then actually they're not read-only. What am I saying? Resources can be changed on the fly, no problems. They're not, what's the word? I don't know the right term for it. Basically, you can't like alter the data. It just gets altered everywhere. So you can alter the data. It's just always going to be changed everywhere you go, which is why this is an array of empty weapon upgrades, and you just drop in the upgrades. So you can have multiple versions of that on different weapons. That's okay. It's when you try to say that, yeah, but they're shared. Yeah, exactly. But that's okay. Because we're going to have multiple weapon resources with different upgrades on them, but the upgrades are still the same, right? I'm thinking about this. But did you find out how to save data? I think I'm going to need to go back to the drawing board on that one. Because most people say I shouldn't do it, and the thing that I thought was an add-on was not an add-on, it was a custom build of the engine. So I've created a small library that should solve this problem for save games, so I'm all over the place with this. But it flat out refuses to load that contains resources of type GD script. This will probably not be good for enough for user-generated content. Pointing towards a script definition outside of itself or even outside of a project. Yeah. It's just not, it's not safe. And basically the consensus, and this is from the, from people who know more about the engine than I do, like way more about the engine than I do, say don't do it. So I guess we shouldn't do it. Which can be used for validation before. This is what I was thinking about. Without any need for engine support. It's a bit scary that it's a security critical code, but on the plus side, it's in the form that would be fairly easy to audit and secure. Yada yada yada. Did anyone reply? I'll point out that loading resources can skip scripts would also address that. It's a security issue, so let's not worry about it. Using the same resource and you only want to upgrade one of them. No, I think you misunderstand what I'm trying to do. It's that you will add the upgrade to the weapon. So you're gonna attach an upgrade. You're not gonna upgrade. Let's say you have two weapons using the same resource, and the upgrades are resources, but they're not going to be upgradable, if you know what I mean. So it'll be like an iron sight, or like a laser sight, or a hand grip, or something like that, and you'll just add it to the weapon. And so it should be fine. It would be different if I was trying to like create something that you could like increment. Like, I guess the problem would be, I would suggest make the upgrades to help the player in situation, like to help have a chance to escape touch the situation. Yeah, we're gonna. Well, we're really far away from actually designing them. First, we have to make sure that they work with our actual weapon resource, and that I'm going down the right track with using resources. Could be scenes, to be honest. So it's just a pointer to an upgrade. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just going to hold an upgrade. And what that will do, it's just information, right? Like, yeah, here's this is the mesh that you need to spawn on top of the gun. This is the name of the bone that it needs to attach to. This is what it does. When you press the aim down sights button, here's the overlay you need to load. Here's the change in stability that needs to be accounted for, yada, yada, yada. And then that just sits on top of it, essentially giving additional information. And I guess the hope with doing it this way is that we are able to reuse the upgrades across pretty much every single weapon, depending on what they are. Like certain weapons, obviously you want to make them exclusive. Others you don't necessarily need to. It's a whole question mark. I don't know yet, but I want to try and make one. So there are more equipment that's going to be added. Yeah, exactly. In my head, that's what I'm thinking. Could be visual. It could be completely unseen. Like, say, I don't actually know like weapons, right? But just say for example, like, oh yeah, we're going to improve the barrel of the gun. Like the barrel of the gun doesn't need to change. It's inside the weapon. It's not like, it's like whatever. It depends on the quality of the game. Or whatever it is. I'd have to look it up, see what like people use, names and stuff, because I don't know that stuff. I like playing FPSs. I don't like actually shooting guns. I've never shot a gun. So I don't know nothing about nobody. Maybe the length of the barrel, yeah. Like if you make that barrel longer, because it's going to improve the range of the weapon, stuff like that. But yeah. So what can we test out? That is going to be the question. I want to start with sights. I need to redesign my aim down sights to do that, because there is no aim down sights at the moment, because I tried to do it and I didn't like how it worked, because it was basically set up as like an alternate fire. So I feel like when it comes to aim down sights for some games, it's like kind of a bit difficult. Basically what I wanted to create, I've actually gone down this path before when it came to alternative firing. So like, say you hit left click for most, my monitor, you hit left click for when you shoot, right? But you hit right click to aim down sights. But what if there's a weapon that doesn't have that and instead like launches a grenade or something like that? So it just depends on the kind of game and how do you give that information? How do you process that? And what I ended up doing was essentially it was another resource and it just had a bunch of functions on it to tell the animation what to do. And I wasn't super happy with the way it turned out. I can show you guys what it looked like. So this was it was essentially my first attempt at this. Went to project list. Godot FPS Pro. This will take ages to load. I just messaged my friend to come. I messaged him that you were live. Oh, thank you, man. Now my hopes are lost. I just saw that. Okay. So, my first attempt, because the FPS Pro actually uses this. So, in the FPS Pro, on the actual weapons, we have something called a secondary fire resource, and it holds a bunch of information. Yeah, the character is rep. This guy, literally the name of the model is Big Man Arms. Because when I made the model, I was just like, I don't know, let's just make him chunky as hell. Anyway. Okay, so what I did here with the AR and all that, I've got a secondary fire resource. This is sort of, it's not upgrades obviously, but the idea is kind of the same. You can put anything on your weapon and it does something specific. In this case, it was like, does it zoom? Does it change spray? It was just a bunch of like preset options. The problem with this is that it's kind of like locked in, right? Like it does everything. So I'm probably going to need to have a couple of different flags. I don't know exactly how I'm going to communicate this information back up top to be like, oh, it's an iron sight or it's a grenade launcher. Or we just make the decision to say you hit the right click button and it's aim down sights. Like, and there's no question about it. And so it's not hard to actually determine that. Are you going to make other characters or avatars? Yeah, but that's going to be way down the line. That won't be in this first pass. So like if I make a prototype, I first have to focus on the upgrades because I think that's going to be a core part of the game. And then I need to focus on the enemies and then like intermixing that gameplay of like fighting enemies, like getting loot, bringing it back and doing upgrades. So like how that all works together, that's the part that we're going to try to figure out in the next couple of months. And if we think it's fun, we keep working on it, we do art. So that's how we're going to do it. So yeah, this was my first attempt, and basically every single weapon is just aim down sights. Because I couldn't, like, I tried to make one where it shot a grenade, and it worked, but I just found the whole system very limiting. So I'm going to try to avoid that this time. Secondary fire. What does it look like? So it's just a bunch of different information. And if it's like a secondary fire, what's the animation? Basically, it was a preset. And I didn't like that. Like, I feel like I could make something better. I probably need to use some form of inheritance to do that, though. Time to practice typing. Practice typing. Who practices typing? Is that something you have to do in school now? We didn't use computers when I went to school, so I wouldn't know. That was not a requirement. We had like the pen license, you know? You had to get good at handwriting with a pencil and then they'd let you write with a pen. And now you got practice typing? That's crazy, man. Hey, Ataclan, basically I need to learn how to type without looking. Is that like a requirement for school, or is it just something you want to do? I'm curious. I'm horrible at touch typing. I have a hard time. Like I literally wanted to change my mic because I can't, like the mic is in the way of the keyboard and I find it difficult to type. I like to look down from time to time. Never got my pen license. The James Kelly Pie. Yeah. It took me a very long time. Like I was already, I think it was like the last 6 months of primary school before I got my pen license, and they gave it to me out of pity. Yes, in the Philippines, of course. Yeah, okay. Well, if it's a requirement, I don't actually necessarily think it's a bad requirement in school. It's funny to see it change from being like getting your pen license to getting your keyboard license, maybe. I don't know what they'd call it. I need to talk to my nieces and see if they have to go through something like that. Quit to project list. Let's get back to the project in hand. Rabbi. I think they gave up on me once I stopped trying, and my handwriting got much better though. Yeah, I don't know. I just never was that good. I'm really bad at it now. It's actually crazy how like bad you become. Like typing now for long periods, like handwriting now for long periods of time is really difficult for me because I just never do it. It's like you're always just using a keyboard. Am I looking the goose gun? You are. The goose gun is about 6 months away. Goosefat27. That is not going to exist in this game for a very long time because we don't even have weapon upgrades yet. So, how can we do this without having to check for a bunch of stuff? My first thought is probably inheritance. So we can have something that extends weapon upgrades, and then we can add additional parameters to it if we need it to. Then the real question will be, how do we get that stuff back into the weapon? So we've got a class. It's probably going to need a function because if I'm going to use inheritance for this, in order to make this a little bit neater, I'm going to need to create like a generalized function to get any kind of functionality out of it. I'm just going to call it load weapon upgrade. And I don't know if it's going to take anything or return anything, but we are going to call that function. And we'll just have that there in case. And I don't know if I even need to store any exclusive exports. If I'm just going to use this as like a boilerplate and inherit from it in order to create different kinds of weapon resources, weapon upgrade resources, I should say, so that I can just add them to the weapon and it's going to get back probably the variables it needs to change in the form of like a dictionary, I would say. That's what I'm thinking, but I don't know for sure. Sorry, I'm going really slow because I don't fully know how this is going to look. We're in very new territory. I need to pop this out because I can't see what I'm doing. Alright. Okay, so we've got the weapon upgrades. I'm actually going to call that weapon upgrade slots because they are going to be slots, and I don't even know if we want to limit those slots. I don't think we do. Eventually we'll need to create a UI so that you can actually see what's attached to the weapon. So I don't know how general we want to make it. Guess there's pros and cons to making it general versus making it sort of more specialized, if that makes sense. Where's GIMP? I need to draw a picture. Alrighty. So, like, imagine you've got a UI, right? Why is this so big? Imagine you have like, you're gonna do upgrades, right? I can't write upgrades. And you've got the weapon here. This is totally a gun. And you've probably got like little squares pointing to like parts of the weapon. This is how I'm picturing the UI. You know? And the one goes here, and then maybe there's a fourth one. I don't know what it does. So like they can affect different things. Like if we have a limit of 4 slots. And if we knew like, oh, it's an iron sight upgrade, it's a barrel upgrade, it's a hand grip upgrade, it's a grip upgrade or something like that. You know, we define maybe 4 types to begin with, and then we go from there to see if we want more depending on the weapon. And then we just need like visuals. I don't know how we'll actually display that in the game, but we'll figure it out. We'll get there. Okay, so that's my idea. And how that works altogether, I don't know. The ultimate question. Okie dokie. And then I guess I create a new script and it inherits weapon upgrades. And we call it like site upgrades. Does it need a name? I don't think it needs a name. Give it one anyway. 11 Kiwi, how are you? KK, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? And then we can, we're going all over the place. Accidentally hit page up. This is why I need to do typing practice, like water chat. Export var, like it's going good. What about me? I'm trying to create weapon upgrades. We're getting a little bit technical today. I'm trying to figure this out, but it'd probably take a couple of streams, honestly, to make a good system. Maybe 2 or 3, maybe a week, maybe more. But we'll hammer through and we'll try to make something semi-decent. So if it's a site upgrade, there's probably going to be like a mesh. I don't know how to describe it other than the mesh that would sit on top of the weapon. The upgrade mesh. And it would probably be, I mean, at the end of the day, it'll need to be a pack scene. So I'd have to load it externally. It's a resource. Maybe there is an argument for making these a class rather than a resource. Because then I could hold it in the scene and it would actually probably make sense, look good. Thoughts. Well, maybe we can work on that after we've done this, because it's not impossible to display it like if you're picking up an upgrade on the ground and it's an iron sight or like a laser sight, and we need to visually show that to the player, we can still query that and pull the mesh up to show to them what it is. So that should be fine. And that's purely visual. And this one as well is going to be something I'll load up. Look on General Challenges Discord. What are you posting on Discord? Oh, perfect. But the eggs are coming from the wrong end. I don't think the eggs come out of its mouth. Help me. Like I'm just saying. I don't know how to display it. Save. Oh wait, I can just, if I copy the image and bring back GIMP. Oh yeah, okay, we'll just pull on Discord onto the screen. For some reason that wasn't working before. I'm pretty sure, now I'm not a doctor, I'm not a veterinarian, I'm not an expert in animals at all, but I don't think the eggs come from that end of the goose. You know what I'm saying? Hello, Kyo. Welcome to the stream. We're discussing a goose gun. And I think the way I pictured it was like, you've got the neck in your hand, and maybe you're holding its feet, and you're like, you know, you push something. I don't know, maybe something like that. I don't know. Why can't I grab anything? Like I'm literally clicking with my pointer, and it just doesn't. I think my mouse is busted. Right. Kyo, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day, evening. iFix, yeah. Okay. And I also, I guess I'm going to say bone location. I don't plan to implement this for a really long time, but I guess I'll just, they're the things in the front of my mind, what it looks like, where it's going to be on the weapon. But mostly we want to know probably how it affects the weapon. That's the question, right? So how are we going to get that information? Now, I was experimenting in the game jam. We were experimenting with get index and set index, and we could probably still work with that, but this is actually a child of the weapon rather than an external or like a singleton that sits on top of everything. So in the game jam, the upgrade manager actually sat as a singleton, and every time there was an improvement to the weapon, it sent a signal, and it used those get index and set index functions, which worked really well because we just needed to know what the object was, and then we could call any object and change things about it. Now this is sitting as a child. It's probably... have a good day too, sir. Thank you. It's probably a good idea to, rather than set index, get index, we can just take a look at. I mean, we can probably still use that, but 7 Twitch open to farm points. To farm points? I don't know. It's not working, bro. I've only got 4 people watching. Oh, you're farming points? I don't understand what you're talking about. Anyway, so we could probably do something like upgrade variable name, and it's a string. And there's probably going to need to be some other things, especially if it's a site. So, and this is why I'm using like inheritance, right? So I don't have to see these every time I make a site upgrade. It's going to be a weapon upgrade. but I won't see these variables like I did on the old version where we had like just a massive list of different things it could be, and you had to select from them. This is going to be better if we use inheritance. So we've got a variable name, like damage, or like, I think it's called, what's the name of the variable? Weapon spray. Although, affecting weapon spray is a little bit more difficult, but we'll look into that. An iron sight wouldn't do that, or laser sight wouldn't do that realistically, but I think like if you were upgrading the grip, you would expect we'll work on that. That's not for this, so we can upgrade variable, overlay, overlay to show, since we know it's a site. This will be a texture. Texture is fine. What else? Zoom amount. Right, that's an int. That's not the right way to write the variable. Zoom amount. Right, so what other things change when we put a laser sight generally in games? You've got zoom amount, you've got the overlay to show, you've got a mesh potentially. There's probably going to need to be an animation, so we'll need a string of animation to play. Right, so if we get that, we'll have the upgrade variable if we're affecting a variable. We're probably going to need to upgrade variable value. And that is a little bit more challenging what this is, because sometimes it's going to be a completely different spray profile or something like that. So, don't know. For now, I guess we'll just make it an int. We could potentially go, if it's like an upgrade scene, upgrade variable scene if necessary. Or I just say for like iron sights, what could possibly change? We just say that like laser sights, like sights, if you upgrade the sight on the weapon, it just doesn't change the spray profile. But maybe ADS can change the spray profile. It will just be within the weapon manager. So if we want to say like universally, the when you aim down sights, the ADS, the spray is reduced because you're aiming down sights, and then potentially we could say that it's improved here with an upgrade variable, potentially, but maybe not necessarily depending on the sight. So we'll go with that. Okay, so this is a bunch of general things that we can change. So let's start with trying to create a site and see how it goes. I might need to add or change things. Site upgrade. So we just call it laser site. And I'm going to create a folder and just call this upgrade resources so that we can save all the actual TRES files in a folder itself. So we need probably these things are going to be blank. The upgrade variable, in fact, they're pretty much all going to be blank, but I'm going to need to create an animation and load an overlay and zoom the weapon. Those are the three variables that I really want to target right now. The rest, I mean, honestly, I could take them out because it's way too early. I just wanted to put them there because that's in my head, like the kind of things I want to change. So I just need to think about that when I'm making the code to actually implement this into the weapon. So probably we get back to GIMP and we're going to create a new GIMP create like a very basic, and probably not a laser sight, because that's actually more complicated than just making it a quick little zoom sight. So like a scope of some kind, because you can fake it really easily. Okay, so if we do like we need to add a alpha channel. Can you really make a game in Android just using Godot? Is there coding? Yeah, you can. I really want to do a video where I make a game using a tablet. I have one. I use it all the time. I have a Samsung tablet, Samsung Galaxy S6 tablet. I use it to monitor the stream. I use it like to watch. Like I'm a bit of an iPad kid, to be honest, except it's a Samsung Galaxy, and it runs Godot, and I can't see why you couldn't make a game with it. So I thought it would be really good. It would be a really fun concept to maybe spend an evening making a game with the tablet and then like turning that into content somehow. So it's actually been on my list for like the last 6 months to try out. I just haven't got around to doing it because it's been one of those years. But yeah, you can make a game in Android with Godot, and I can't see why you couldn't make anything with Android at this point. Like, you've got the engine. There's really no limitations at that point. I don't know, like, I think it would be easier to export to web than it would be to export to Android itself. I'm not too sure, because like you need Android Studio in order to create an Android game. So how that works, I'm not too sure, honestly, but I wouldn't do that too. If I made the video, I'd probably just make a web game, but it's all about discovery, right? Okay. Let's create a circle. And I need some guides. Image, guides by percent. So you can do something like this, although this needs to be way bigger. Let's make it 1,000. That's pretty good. And then you can create a brush, probably pencil, and you go back to the dash, right? It needs to be black. And what we can do is the spacing is the trick here. So you make the spacing like 30. Still sticks together. Let's up. Redo. The spacing, probably, let's just double it. Oh, the aspect ratio changed the... I wanted to make it squishy. What if I make it smaller? Still one line. Spacing. Okay, here we go. It's finally spaced. We probably still want that to be like further apart, so let's make that 300. And yeah, cool. So we just place it there and we go all the way across. We probably want it to actually draw in the middle. Not quite. Just do it like that. And then we'll go with vertical, which means I need to change the aspect ratio. No, I don't need to change the aspect ratio. Can I don't know what that was set to, like 10? Now it's really skinny. Okay, now it's vertical, that works. I don't know what I did, but the spacing's no good. I see. Angle. So that works, but now the aspect ratio is messed up. Now they're too skinny. That seems okay. Yeah, that's fine. I guess the problem is where I start, isn't it? Okay, great. I'm not that good with GIMP. Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. We did it. We did it. We created a little scope overlay. Okay, so let's export this as a PNG. And I don't know where to save it. So we'll go with what's the game called? Is it in GitHub repos? I don't think so. Godot? Zombie collab experts? Where is this game saved? Godot 4 FPS template player controller. Right. I never would have guessed. I gotta change the name of the folder. Media. Or do we go with player controller and then we create a folder called like art? And we call this one scope overlay 1. All right. Cool. Do we want to save it? Yes. Actually, just leave it open because I don't know if it's going to look any good in the engine. All right. Let's just see how it looks. I guess it's a text to 2D, right? It's a little bit big. Scale. Fit. Right, that's not bad. I think that's okay. Like in terms of a scope, it's not like the best, but it's not the worst. Like this is not even, right? It's like a couple of pixels off, but we'll roll with it. Like it's fine. It's good enough for our testing. Don't save that. Okay. So look at the laser sight upgrade. I'm gonna rename it because it's no longer the laser sight. It's the scope. And we don't have a mesh, we don't have a name, we don't have don't really have much. We have an overlay to show, which is a texture. Which is, what texture should it be? I don't know, just drop the picture in. Oh, do you have a new one? Let's have a look. Let's see what GooseFat has created for us. You did fix it. I mean, it's okay. Am I Polish? Do you mean Polish as in I polished the game? Or am I Polish as in of descent? Okay. So the hands go here and the arms go here. You're on the right track, but I think probably, yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends. Who knows where like the animation would look best from a first person perspective. We'll figure it out. We'll workshop at GooseFat. Australian? Yeah, definitely Australian. I am Australian, yeah. We're in Brisbane. chilling out in Queensland, enjoying the warm winter. Alrighty, so we've got the overlay and we've got the zoom amount. I'm gonna go with an amount. I don't know, I have to think about that. It's the FOV that you change to zoom. So we're gonna need to probably figure out what is 4x of an FOV of 75, you know? Like, I don't know. How am I gonna work that out? Duck, duck, gun? Yeah, maybe. I think I'll add it as an Easter egg. Just for you, Goose Fat. Something like that. Or maybe it can be an upgrade. You get the goose upgrade and it turns your gun into a goose gun shooting eggs. Alrighty, let's focus in here. What we need to do. Now, I actually think main site, hit site. Okay, we've got a main site, we've got an overlay. We already have this as remnants from an idea, right? So there is already an overlay and there's probably already inbuilt code to display that. Load overlay texture, right? So I have a function already here that I can pass to the UI to say, load that overlay texture. I mean, for a scope like this, we don't really need an animation either. So we can get by with very little in terms of a test, just to make it work, you know, I'll need to, the problem is, like, because I really want to try with the mesh. You're in AU 9 degrees. It's not, I mean, it's not 9 degrees, right? What is it? It was very cold this morning. It was like 5 degrees Celsius, but like during the day, it's like 22. It's barely cold. Brisbane temperature. It is 12 degrees right now. So it's a little bit better. It depends on where you look, right? Because Brisbane, Australia's a big country, Goose Fat, and I'm not in the cold bit. I'm in the warm bit. And it says top of 18. It felt better than that. It was nice. It was really sunny. Oh yeah, it says 22. Oh, it depends on the day. Yeah, fair enough. Been cold in the mornings though. Anyway, enough about the weather. Let's get back to work. Low 1, high 16. Whereabouts? Like Victoria? Sydney or something? Wouldn't be in my town. Anyway. Let us... See, the thing is, what I really want to do is test with meshes, but I don't think the pack that I got from Kenny is good for that in Queensland. Okay. Where is it? Where is it 1 degrees in Queensland? That's crazy. Okay. What was I trying to explain? That the models for the weapons are kind of not good for upgrades because they're not modular. So I might need to go and look for a pack where I can fully explore this idea with different meshes that I can actually add to the pack. Chinchilla, okay. I didn't realize you were Australian, Goose Fat. I thought you were, I was making assumptions about you, I'm sorry. But if you're from Chinchilla, maybe that is like a reason for you to be a bit different. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's out west, right? Near Toowoomba? Where's my thing? It okay. There mustn't be there wouldn't be much going on out there. I remember when I worked for this QLD. Because if it's west, then yeah, okay, I can imagine it gets cold there. Oh, you're so far out, bro. Dude. What's that like? Partly cloudy, 6 degrees. Fuck that. The melon capital. $7,000 people. Bruh. I've been having discussions with my wife about like living in the countryside, and I just can't see myself living in a place like 4 hours from the city. It just seems like impossible to do anything. So we've got that function. Hey, Godly? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Okay. So we've got this load overlay texture. Let's focus. Let's try to get something moving. I swear this is going to take me like a month to do. It's gonna be funny. Skip zone. Okay, so we've got zoom amount. I don't know. Let's just say like 4. I don't know what that means yet. But we'll just roll with it. So, and then the other thing that I want to do is add an animation. So here's the thing. We're going to say that when you aim down sight for a weapon, everything's going to have an animation potentially. Or maybe I don't want that. I'm tossing up. I need to create a function in the weapon manager anyway. Where is the weapon manager? Here it is here. So it's going to need to be called probably... So I've got a function shoot. Do many modelers make the jump to game design, or do you stay in one lane? I guess it just depends, right? There's plenty of people that are artists that go on to make their own games. I was watching a guy the other day who was like, I was watching a stream, or was it a video? A VOD, I think, of Asmongold, and he did it's like a Shark Tank, but for game devs. And the guy on there, he was making a really awesome game, and he was a writer, and I think his wife was an artist, but they learned how to make games, and they were making a game. It looked awesome. So like anyone can do it. It doesn't matter. I'm an accountant, bro. Like, you know, if you've got the will, you can make the game. It's just a lot of work, right? So if you're making game models for games, 100% you can make a game. It's just a matter of like sitting down and actually spending the time learning, and that's the hardest part, because, you know, if you've got a job, if you've got like a life, and if you're learning how to code, then you're not working on your other things, and it's difficult, you know? And then sometimes it's just not for you, and that's okay too. I forget the name of this game. Pepper. I can't remember. Doesn't matter, I guess. So anyone can. I told myself Blender while bedbound with a back injury. That's amazing, dude. Yeah. You've got the right attitude then. So I think you can do it. Give it a shot. If you don't know if you don't try. Me too. I want to make a game. That's why I like watching you explain. Okay, that's awesome. I do my best. I don't always know. That's the interesting thing, because like obviously I make a lot of tutorials, or I made, past tense, I haven't really made a tutorial for like 6 months now. But I was making a lot of tutorials. But if you're watching me stream, you're watching me figure it out, because that's what I used to do, like in the evenings, figure stuff out, and then I'd make a video on it later. So I don't know if I'm always going to be going down the right path, but we're here and we're learning together. Okay, so we've got shoot. Let's have a look at the functions. That's what I'm really interested in. So we've got inputs, right? And we've got shoot. And if action press shoot. So I guess we're going to have like if event dot is action pressed, and it's going to be Secondary fire. There's already an action there for it. And check valid weapon slot. I guess I have this everywhere. Seems like a pretty important function to include. And then we pass. And I guess we'll create a function called secondary fire. So where's shoot? Shot count update, load projectile, reload. Right below here. This is where I'm going to put it. Func. Secondary fire. I don't know what it's going to take yet, but it's going to do something. And it's going to return a void. I think. Okay. And I also saw this one didn't have a void. Okay. So, here's the thing. How can we tell? How can we tell what to do? That's the biggest question I've had. I've had it since I tried to do secondary fire the first time. How do we know if the aim, if the secondary fire button does an aim down sight, it does other action? I feel like intuition is telling me just lock in that action for a particular thing. Like if you want an assault rifle to shoot a grenade, put it on a different keybind. It's just going to be easier that way. Probably depends how many. It depends if we want the upgrade to determine what it does, or something else. So the thing is, if I was picturing, I don't know if I've still got that open. I do. If I was picturing something like this, where we said, oh, here's all the different upgrades you can put on the weapon. If this one here is a grenade launcher, it's all messed up. If this one here is a grenade launcher, you know, you shoot a grenade, then this one here can't be a scope, especially if they're bound to the same key. So they're probably going to need to be key bound differently, especially if you're going to be able to change them. It's not so bad if I was saying, this gun does grenade launcher, this gun does sights. Like if you were making a more traditional style FPS game, where say you had a sniper and it had a sight, and another weapon like the assault rifle had a grenade launcher attached to it. And it could do different things. Depending on the weapon, you could hard code that information. You could say this weapon does this weapon does that. But now, if I'm saying you can add this to anything you want, or to select weapons, who knows? I don't know yet. But if you do that, you can't have a sight. So, because the buttons are keybind to the same thing, and I'd have to check, right, to see which one is filled. Now, I don't necessarily like this design. What if you want to have both? They need to be bound to different keys. And I think that's the decision I'm going to make right now. So we have like an alternate fire button. I don't want this to be like, I think the prototype is going to be a pretty like button heavy game. We'll see. But at the moment, I think this is the best choice. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say secondary fire. I think maybe I'll make it clearer and call it aim down sights. And just be really clear about what it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is change that keybind. Input map. I just call it ADS. And we check that. And we go down to the function, which is called secondary fire at the moment. But instead of secondary fire, it's going to be called aim down sights. And now it's really clear because we can say check for that particular upgrade slot to see what it does. If one doesn't exist, do this instead. Makes sense. There'll be a default action, I think. So we can go if current weapon, if a current weapon slot, we're getting deep here. Weapon upgrade slots. Like, hang on a second, I'm going to change this because I'm realizing as I build it out that the upgrade slots are going to be set. So it's going to actually be a dictionary rather than an array. So let me just change that. That's going to sit under the weapon state machine. Weapon resource. Who is that? Kyoi99. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Are you having a good day? And this, I guess, is just going to be a dictionary. I can't really type that, so it is what it is. We're not building a template anymore, so that doesn't matter. So then we can go to Blaster Eye. Sorry for not being at the other live. Hey man, that's all good. You don't have to be here if you've got something else going on. You don't owe me, you know? Was busy. I appreciate your presence either way. Okay, so now we've got a dictionary and we can give these string names. And so we can call them anything we want, but like we're going to be checking. So I guess it's like I've really got two choices. The choice is either making a set of variables that we stick to, different upgrade slots, or creating various ones ourselves. I don't really want to limit it, so I'm going to keep it open right now, which is a dictionary, so I can type whatever I want. You always still, am I still creating a zombie game? Yes, I am. It will be zombie related, I think. It's very early days, EMS. So why don't I take this time to explain to everyone sort of what my plan is. So obviously we were making the zombie game for 2 weeks for the game jam. I took probably maybe a week and a half off from game dev. I'm watching the same person in the YouTube, Kyo. I'm having fun watching you though. I don't know how to code. That's okay. We're all here learning. Maybe you'll pick something up. Appreciate the follow on Twitch either way. So what we're doing is that we worked on that game for 2 weeks. We finished the game. We put it to itch. Now it actually didn't perform very well in the game jam, and that's okay because I think a lot of the problems were like gameplay mechanics, the way the zombies spawned, all that kind of stuff. So people didn't really like it that much, but there's still something there. I really feel that. So what I need to do now is build out a more robust upgrade system, because what I'm feeling is that the fun part is going to be getting and improving the player, the weapons, however, whatever it is, right? Like getting these upgrades, becoming stronger, going out and killing something to get that. It doesn't necessarily have to be zombies, but it probably will be. I don't know at this point, because obviously I didn't win the jam, so I have to come up with my own art. So realistically now it can be anything, but it probably will be more complicated than the game jam. So the game jam was just like every so often, ding, choose an upgrade. Do you want to run faster? Do you want to shoot harder? Or whatever. Now it's going to be kill stuff, you find a cache, see what's inside of it, bring it back to your base. Maybe. I've got to make a prototype. I'm going to spend a couple months trying to make a prototype, see what we come up with, and if it's fun, we keep making it. If it's not, we do something else. Yeah. The other thing I want to look into is grants as well. I want to see if I can get a grant from the government. I know they do them. I think it would make good content to talk about that as a possibility, you know? But we'll see. So we've got ads. Aim down sights. And then this is just a resource. So it's just an object. And then I can drag in the upgrade resource, scope sight. And so it's kind of hard coded. I don't know about that, but we'll see how we feel as we go. Upgrade slots. What are we making again? We're making sort of like it would be like a rogue light shooter, I guess. I guess this is the only way to describe it. I need to like explore what's in the genre, play a couple of games, test them out. But in the meantime, I'm just going to work on my idea of what an upgrade system is going to look like. And then once it actually gets to building out gameplay, I might look into that. How you get the upgrades, where you get them from, who you have to fight to do that. It's sort of just an open question at this point. Will it be zombies? Won't it be zombies? I don't know. It'll be something. Upgrade slots. And then we query this with the key ADS. So if there is an upgrade here, we know that we can do it, right? And I don't like the naming. I'm going to change that. Escape site. Site upgrade. No. I'm lost in my own project. Projectile. Play character. No. Down. Where are you? Does it have many movement mechanics? Yeah, it will. So I don't think there's any issues with the project. So if you just picture right now, we've got obviously jump, and you have the ability to sprint, and you can crouch. And you can also lean. So realistically, we've got like a set of base movements that we can do, you know, and we can make more. It's not that hard. And we can probably utilize if I'm happy with how the upgrade system works, we can utilize the same set of ideas and go from there. Right. So wall slide and wall jump mechanisms? Yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know. It's not that hard. I've done it before. You could reverse the gameplay. Zombies have guns but terrible shots like stormtroopers, and the main antagonist bites and rips. That's a good idea. Maybe you should make that game. I've spent so much time making the FPS, like I have to use it to just make it an FPS game. That's my feeling. That is a cool idea though. Maybe I can make an alternative where you do that. You are the bad guy. Oop, sorry. That's actually a really good idea for a game. Okay, so I've got drop, if animation finished. Oh right, I was changing the name of the scope overlay. I'm lost in the scripts. You guys can't see it because I'm in the way. I can't find the resource, the weapon resource. It's not even the weapon resource though. I need to find the blast eye. I can get it from here. Frick it. I didn't even add the key. Object. So it's a string. Not a vector 2, it's a string. And I'm calling it aim. No, I'm calling it a site upgrade. And it will be type object, scope site, add. Okay. Also add a shovel and a kick. Yes, there will be melee, and it could be a shovel. There's no reason why it couldn't be. Add ammo. Weapon state machine. We are going to secondary. And downsides. Shove. Oh, a shove. Yeah, I probably could do that. Depends. It's meant to be more fast-paced, but we'll see. It's very open right now. Okay, so Current weapon. That's not what we're looking for anymore. We're looking for aim down sight. What did I call it? Sight upgrades? Oh man, I'm so all over the place. Can read it right there. Sight upgrade, singular. Is that error out with the dictionary if it's wrong? Kind of curious. If I had all the money and time to create a game, what would it be? It would be a immersive sim for sure. Like Prey or Deus Ex. Games like that I really love. They're my favorite kind of games. It's got like the best of both worlds. You've got the action, but then you've also got like sort of the RPG element where you're upgrading and creating like a character that has skills and abilities, and the combination of the two plus the exploration, and I don't know, something about reading people's emails. It's fun. So we just roll with that, you know. That's what I would make if I had a lot of time and money, but I don't, so we are trying to make a roguelite instead. I don't even know what that word means, really. Okay, let's see what happens if I press this button. Nothing. Is it mapped? ADS right mouse button, all devices. Well, you know why? Because that isn't even the weapon that I'm working on. Okay, we're gonna have to start dropping weapons because I don't know which one I'm looking for. There we go. It's not doing nothing. Jet Set Future Open World MMO. Jet Set Radio was like it's like a roller skating game, right? Like, I never played it, but people loved it. Let me have a look. Jet Set Radio. Future. Yeah, I remember this game. Was it on Xbox? People loved this shit. Yeah, it was Xbox. I never played it. Cell-shaded graffiti cool characters, original soundtrack. Yeah. What did you do? Was it just an action game? Yeah. Long play, 4 hours. Blech. Yeah, okay, cool. So kind of like Tony Hawk-ish. I bet you if you like pulled this up on an emulator, it would look so sick. You can just like get rid of all the anti-aliasing. How old is this? 7 years ago. It has 1 million views. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I see the appeal already, like grinding up their stuff, the movement mechanics. I bet you it was really fun. I don't know why. You know, sometimes you wonder, like, story adventure take on the crews, defeat enemies, yeah. I sometimes you wonder why, like, you miss, like, iconic games. Like, I never played this. I had an Xbox, but I don't know. I never picked it up, but I had, like, a bunch of other games that were like this. I liked playing games like this. I just missed it. Every hidden character in the game. Wow. That's cool. What's the music? I get hit with the loading screen straight away.
Now remember, the sewers are Poison Jam's home turf. And I don't...
probably licensed. Yeah, that's cool though. Awesome. Alright. Alright, so let's try and load this. It's not loading and I don't know why. Aim down sights, because I'm not calling the function, I just realized. How funny is that? Does that ever happen to you guys? You're like trying to work on something and you're like, why isn't it working? It's like, you actually forgot to call the function. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. We have got the site upgrade. Although we're printing the same thing no matter what, so... get back to the script. Go to this. Not check weapon valid. Aim down sights. Excuse me, I just yawned straight into the microphone. I'll put a to-do here. Make basic ADS animation. Okay, but this we can do. So now that we have access to that, how do we go about, like, we're expecting a couple of different things, right? So we can go about collecting that information. And then it also might be worth like having a, so we've got a scope site, but maybe there's a basic one for every single animation and it just doesn't have an overlay. And then we don't have to worry about checking to see if there is an overlay upgrade. Everyone has an overlay, we upgrade, but it's empty. Or maybe I preload it, like preload a basic one up here. So I can just set it and then grab the right things. Excuse me. Okay. I think that's the way to go. Alrighty. So, and these things, and they're not going to really be accessed, but the upgrade variable value. So it's probably just going to be like a bunch of like if statements or like for, we could loop through it. But the main thing is we need to emit a signal for the overlay and we need to zoom the camera. So those are the challenges here. Excuse me. Keep like making it a very unpleasant sound. Keep making unpleasant sounds. Connect signal. We've got weapon changed, update ammo, update weapon stack, hit successful, add signal to HUD. There's a new signal that we need to emit, which is the name of the signal needs to be the load overlay texture. And we can come to the weapon manager and we create that here. And then we can connect, and it's going to come, actually, we know what it's expecting. It's expecting a variable. It's expecting a texture. Okay. So we can actually go display. And that's a bool. And then we've also got the texture. To display. And this is a texture 2D, I think it was. So we can type that so that it's the same. Texture 2D. And then we can connect it, load overlay, and we connect it to the canvas. Should just go straight in on weapon manager's load overlay texture. It's good enough. We can just pass in that stuff. Delete that function. Why isn't it happy? Load overlay texture not declared in the current scope. Eh? Who's calling it? On weapon managers connect to HUD. Connect. Load overlay texture. Weapon resource.update overlay.connect. Is there a focal change on the zoom, or is there a zoom boundary to a separate camera? There will be a there'll be a focal change. That's probably what I'll do for now. Dot connect load overlay texture. This is no longer necessary. Connect weapon to HUD. Weapon resource dot update overlay. The weapon resource. Do I even? I don't know if that function is even connected. I think that's old code. Connect to HUD. So I do that. Let's just double check. Connect to HUD. So I emit that signal and I give it the weapons, but what does that even do for me? I'm pretty sure it's old. Update overlay. That function doesn't exist. Weapon resource dot update overlay. Like the weapon resource doesn't have a function. It's got a signal called update overlay. It doesn't do anything. So I'm guessing I need to remove that. Because that's a relic of the past. These two signals, they're not there anymore. Because that's how I used to send the information out. But now I'm going to do it with the weapon manager rather than the resource. Because I think it's better on the weapon resource. It's easier to understand. It's easier to implement. So we delete. And see what we break. Well, actually, we're not going to break anything because it's a signal at the end of the day. So if I go back to the weapon manager and I just delete that, and then I delete the signal, ain't nothing going to happen. The game's just going to run as normal. The beauty of signals, it lets you leave little bits and pieces all over the place. Okay, there's a printout in the weapon, in the, what's it called? It's the, oh my goodness. It is called the, my memory is so bad lately. In the projectile to load, there's a printout happening here that I need to remove. Print damage. Get rid of that. Okay. Fixed it. Okay, so we got a new signal called load overlay texture. We probably just want one signal that we can emit both to the camera and to the... or maybe we don't actually. Let's be better and say signal zoom FOV update. And it's going to have a zoom FOV. And that'll be an end. Okay, so I actually don't know how I'm going to do that at the moment because we'll figure that out later though. Let's work on loading the texture. So we will jump in to the next one down, aim sights. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We are going to load the overlay texture. So we can pretty easily do that, like right, load overlay texture, dot emit, and the two things that we're going to pass in are the first. Let's get a version of this of site equals site upgrade, right? And then the var overlay texture is equal to site dot. I'm going to type this so that it gets like this is an upgrade, weapon upgrade, right? Or even more specifically, it's a site upgrade. And we can say site dot overlay to show var FOV update equals site dot FOV zoom amount. Okay. And then I can go true because it's expecting a variable to say to display it, and then the overlay texture, right? And I'll also need to function exit aim down site and for now it's just going to be a load overlay texture dot emit false. Right, so we'll go with that. And in the canvas layer, we have got this function here. Now it's pretty much the exact same as this, so I might just call that, or I really could have just connected it to that. Anyway, let's take them, and yeah, it's not happy. Just comment those out. So we have got display, which I guess is these. I'm just going to take the variables and keep them the same. There's no reason for me to change what they called. And I'm actually going to make this one optional so that in the second instance, it's not called. And I wonder if I'll have a problem now that I think about it with this zoom, this load overlay texture, because this is typed. If I don't provide it, what happens? I don't know. I'm about to find out though. I don't know if there's anything else that is there for me to do. So I'm just going to run it and see what happens. And it works. Look at that. It looks horrible, but it works. And when I release, that signal actually didn't work. So I actually haven't set it up. Never mind. So we're not going to find out. So we've got ADS. I suppose I don't need to set up a new keybind for that. I just need to go to the just watched your PS1 Fatal Frame X highlight video. Oh yeah, what do you think? That was like one of the first videos that I did that actually did well. That was a long time ago now. I really like that game. I made like another version of it with better graphics and everything. Just not spooky. Okay, so we can just go if action released. I think if I had like made that game, if I had focused more on the gameplay of that game, it might have won that jam. It came second, but mostly because of the way that it looked. It was very distinct, you know? And maybe the mechanic was kind of unique. One day I will, I mean, I could include that in this game realistically, but yeah, I really like that as a feature. I just think it's cool, like being able to take photos in game. What's the function called? I keep forgetting exit aim down sight. Alright. Okay, so now it should just load and unload. Let's see. Yeah, sweet as. I mean, obviously you want an animation with that, but we can work on that. And okay, so the reason that we can't see it is because it is like we need to probably put the overlay at the bottom, or realistically we need to put the sub viewport container at the top. Does that make sense? Is that gonna work? Yeah, so now the gun's hidden by it, but the UI is still visible. Okay, cool. So we're making progress. Obviously, we're not zooming, which so this looks ridiculous. And realistically, like if we're loading an overlay, do we hide the weapon or not? I think that's really up to the weapon. We'll we might add a variable for that or something. Make it part of the animation, probably. All right. Okay, cool. So we've got the sub viewport container. And now I need to get to the camera. Now there's no function in the camera, but I know the player controller does actually manipulate the FOV. So I want to see what's here and if I can hijack it. What have we got? It'd be in a sprint, right? Exit sprint. Okay. Input. If enable crouches, if enable lean, if enable sprint. Do I not change the FOV? I thought I did. Okay. Do you use a board to arrange ideas and influences? No, I don't. It's just all in here. And I've tried using boards, but then I find that it never really does anything for me. Like I put it all down and then I walk away and forget about it forever. So why bother? But I mean, I know for a lot of people it's really helpful. What was I using? I had an app. I had an idea for a game and I was making a board with all this stuff. And then I think I realized that it was a bit too out of scope. I think it was called Millinote. I wonder if I can log in and have a look. Let's have a look. Let's go over one of my old game ideas. I don't even know if it's safe for work, to be honest. Log in with Google. Let's go with that. Chef Game Dev. Continue. Okay. It looks like it's here. Let me have a look at the home. Board. I don't know how to do this. Like, it worked. Hang on a second. I can show you guys. This is fine. Fuck. Welcome back, EMS. Okay, so I made a GIF of the goose. Nice. Is it in the chat? That's exactly. Have I watched anime, EMS? I'm a massive weeb. Oh, what was I watching on the weekend? This is Amazing Goose Fat, by the way. This is definitely going to be in the game. Anime. What was I watching this weekend? I finished Kaiju number 8, and that show is good. I was really into it. I'm not super stoked on the ending. It's a bit too fairy tale for me. Like, he got everything that he wanted. It was a good ending still, like to the first season, but you know, really sick anime. I really liked it. Definitely appealed to me. Okay, so Miller Note. This is what I use to organize my ideas. Where is the board with all the game mechanics, characters? Oh, wow. Yeah, I did a lot of work, eh? How do I go back? Home. Okay, mood. And this is the card. Let me just take this off the screen because I don't know what kind of pictures are in here. Let's have a look. It seems safe for work. Now, you can have back Attack on Titan. Yeah, I love that show. Now, here's proof of how much of a weeb I am. The mood is just all pictures from anime. Oh my goodness. So I was like, oh, it'd be so cool if I could make a game that looked like this. Spoiler alert, I can't, but it would be nice if I could. Basically, I really like the whole, like, I don't know how to put it, like the tech, the way that tech was portrayed in 90s anime is just so cool. Did you ever play Vampire Hunter D on PS1? I never played the game, but I watched the movies. I watched all of them when I was a kid. They were sick. So that was the mood. What's the pitch? Okay, so here's the pitch of my, I guess it was a immersive sim. You are an AI that has been woken up early to defend the human activists that have stolen you from the corporation. You have memories of the past. The activists think that it's a bug that's being activated too early or a phantom in the training model, but you are not convinced. Are those memories real or just hallucinations? Because of your early activation, your model was not complete and you need to gather more training data to unlock your full potential. A scientist who has helped create you that has been taken hostage by the activists help guide you to unlock your full potential. Escape from the facility, investigate your origins, and take down the corporation that created you. It was like Resident Evil. That's cool. So that was my idea for like an immersive sim, and it's just a bit too high scope for me. It would require, it's probably like a maybe in 10 years kind of game. If I'm successful at making games and I can turn this into a career, this is what I'll make. But until then, it's on hold. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I have used boards. Have any pets? I have a dog sleeping. I got a doggo. I don't know if I can show you. Let me see. Bear with me. I have to download a photo. Yeah, it would have been cool. It would be cool if I could make it. Spotlight on Angel over the years. My dog's name is Angel. This is a cool photo. I need to download it. Save image as. Oh, it's when she got injured. She got attacked by another dog. So search for Angel in Google Photos. It's hard because of a lot of her photos have like family members in it. So I have to find one where she's on her own. Take a lot of selfies with her. I'm discovering. Playing as a robot or that escaped. Playing as a robot that escaped the robot factory. Yeah, that is literally the plot of the game. That's a good one. Doggy. She's the best. It's so funny. I removed the photo viewer from Windows, and now I actually can't view photos. I have to open them in GIMP. Doggy. She's like, we didn't have a fence at the time, but we wanted to take her outside, so we had this massive cord on her. So, because she's reactive, if she sees cats or if she sees like wildlife, she is not able to be controlled. So we had to, like, whenever we, yeah, she's big. She's a big girl. I wonder if I could find the photo. So whenever we had her outside, because we were like renovating our garden, as you can see behind us. What was your vision for the game? It was a FPS game, FPS shooter for sure. Hang on a second. She had an Instagram, but I don't know if we're still doing it. She's a good girl, except when she sees the cats or the turkeys. We have a lot of bush turkeys here. I wouldn't trust her around a snake either. She'd try to kill it without hesitation. She wouldn't be able to be controlled. Favorites. This is my favorite photo of her, just because it's so funny. It's like so pixelated. Open with. Did it fail? Yeah, convert. Look at that mass. She's big. She's big. She's a chunky girl. So she's looking at me in this photo. We just washed her. She hates being washed. And she was outside drying off, and she was sitting at the screen door wanting to come back inside and just giving me this glare. People get really worried when they see her. Like she looks pretty intimidating. Where is she now? She's sleeping in the laundry. She likes to sleep alone. I don't know why. She like just goes there on her own. But yeah. She's a good girl. I really love her. She's a Sharpei cross Staffy. Mostly Staffy, if you ask me. Like, it looks more like a Staffy than a Sharpei. Hey Garrick, how are ya? But yeah, definitely more Staffy if you ask me. Welcome to the stream, Garrick. How you doing tonight? Alrighty. Okay, so we're almost there. We're just gonna do the FOV. So let's go to the weapon manager, and here we have another function, right? We have zoom FOV update, and we can emit that signal as well. So aim down sights, zoom FOV update, emit, and it will be the FOV update. And we'll need to create a script for the main camera. So I'll attach a script. Main camera is fine. Location, player controller, that's also fine. Let's go to that. So this will just have like a default FOV. Right. That's not going to have a value. I suppose it will be an int, but it won't have a value. We'll set it on the ready. The main protagonist is a robot. In the game that I was showing you guys before, the idea that I had, the AI was the main character. So you were playing as, so picture like a far future where like there are sort of like those robots, like there's a Tesla one. There's, what's the other one that's really like Boston Dynamics robots? So picture those kind of robots, like Boston Dynamic robots, that basically have taken over every form of labor for humanity. And essentially the plot was that there was these activists that felt like the robots had gained sentience and they needed to be set free, and they'd broken into the facility and activated you early and were trying to get you out to prove that you were sentient. And that was like the entire plot of the game. So you were just trying to escape the robot factory as a robot, learning about how you were created and what you really were. And I wanted to tell if I did some things, and now my Godot runs with no problems. Oh, awesome. Yeah, I've got a couple of like things on the list to help people with in the Discord. But I'm glad you figured it out. Runs with no problems. Okay, so like in terms of performance, that's awesome, dude. Because I know that you were having issues with that. So we go pass. What we want to go is default FOV equals FOV. Okay. set FOV is probably a function that already exists within a camera set, or like change FOV. You have liked all of my videos. I'm now a diehard fan. Well, that's great. I really appreciate it. And this is going to take a FOV. And basically we just want to get tree dot create tween. I probably want to create a var of tween equals get tree create tween. FOV tween dot tween property object self, I guess. Node path is FOV. The final value is the FOV, and the duration is like 0.1, 0.2. FOV tween dot set ease. Probably ease out, right? And I need to set that before I actually tween the property. And then what is the FOV tween dot upgraded my Windows? A mechanic managed to upgrade the laptop to Win 10, but I think that solved the issue. Yeah, okay. What was it on? Windows 7 or something? Windows 8? Don't tell me it was on Windows 8. Vista? Was it on Vista? Okay. Yeah, go have fun, EMS. Enjoy yourself. It was on Vista, or was it on Windows 8? Windows 7. Okay. Windows 7 is good, so maybe it was just that it was old, and like a fresh OS has given it a new bit of life. Or maybe there are performance improvements. That's going back a bit. Windows Vista. Yeah. Dude, I remember Vista. You know, to be fair, I don't think it was that bad. Like, people like shatter it all the time, but like, did you use Windows Millennium Edition? It was horrible compared to, like, Windows Vista was great compared to Millennium Edition. Why, yes, I also think so. Yeah. I think that's probably what it was. Set E, set loops, pause mode, parallel, set trans. That's what I'm looking for. Elastic, Expo, linear. Expo probably makes sense. Okay, let's make it 0.5. Actually, let's just make it 1 second. Start slow and see how it goes. Okay, so we've got the FOV. So we've got a function to set the FOV. Haven't run Windows on a main machine for a few years now. Yeah, I mean, for me, like from 2018 till now, I still run Linux, and I'm streaming on Windows just because it just seems to run a lot better. And it's probably got something to do with my Arch install, but I'm too lazy to try and fix it. So it is what it is. And to be fair, I never really like disliked Windows that much. It's just I prefer Linux, if that makes sense. I'm not in it for the privacy. I'm not in it for, I mean, the coding is significantly better. I would say that much. Like, say for example, the other day, I had a problem where I needed to I need to create a really big spreadsheet. This sounds really strange. It's an accounting problem. I needed to create a really big spreadsheet from like 100 smaller spreadsheets. And so in order to do that, I use Python because it's the easiest way to get in and copy those CSV files all into one CSV file while taking the name of that CSV file and putting it at the end of each line. So that's what I was doing with the script. Now, I wouldn't even know where to start in Windows. I don't even know if I've got Python installed. But on Linux, it's installed by default and runs no problems. Like, I don't even have to think. You just make a Python script and run it. It's fine. You know? It's a lot easier when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I definitely prefer it from that perspective, but it really depends on what you're doing. For game development, I think maybe Windows has it beat because you get access to a lot of third-party software if you're using it. If you're just using Godot, that's fine. You don't really need to use Windows for that, but If you're using like Substance Designer, or like depending on, maybe you want some kind of like third party, you want like animation, Unreal Engine, Unity and Unreal Engine both run in Linux, but the experience is better from Windows, at least in my limited experience. I'm just talking out my ass at this point, but anyway. So, okay, so we've got a function called change tween, right? And we just need to connect the signal. So what we want to do, we've got the default. We're probably going to need to do 2 separate signals. It's going to be easier that way. We want to get into the main. So we're going to have, I also like Linux for its features, but I don't switch for some reason. I do use Kali Linux in a VirtualBox. Is that the hacker Linux? Isn't Kali Linux the hacker Linux? What you up to? Kali Linux is a Linux distribution designed for digital forensics and penetration testing. My friend Girick, what are you doing? I'm just kidding around. What is it, Debian based? Yeah, cool. To be fair, I got back into Linux in 2018 because I started using Tails Linux, if you know what that is. So, you know, I'm not innocent either. I'm learning hacking. That's cool, dude. That is really cool. I wish I could hack. I'm not much of a hacker. Couldn't if I tried. Targetable objects. No, we want to go to check valid. No, we want aim down sights. Alright. So we've got aim down sights, zoom update, FOV. On the exit, we need to. So we've got a FOV. Now this is just an integer. It's going to be tough. I'm probably going to need, the easiest thing for me to do is just like have 2 signals. Zoom FOV reset, right? And emit that when we release the key. Why do you always stream when I have to study? Okay, I have to go now. Go study. It's probably just a timing difference. Like for me, this is it's 9:48 p.m. so it's like after work. So for me, like my routine is generally like finish work at 5 p.m. You know, like get ready for dinner, have dinner, talk with my wife for a bit, and then like at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I'll jump on and start streaming. So, you know, it's just the time. For me, it's 5:14. Right. So you just finished dinner, and now you've got to study. I remember those days. I suppose technically this is me studying. At the end of the day, this is just what it turned into. So just eventually you can stream it when it's not work. Coming up to 1 p.m. at my end of things. Oh, nice. Imagine if I streamed my work. I'd get in so much trouble. Just the thought that crossed my mind. I'm like, I could never stream my work. And not that anyone would watch it. Who wants to watch some dude sit there and try to like make a what was I working on today? A reconciliation sheet for the leases for the auditing team. What? No one cares. I don't even care. They don't even care. Okay, so I've got signals, so now I just need to connect them. Zoom FOV reset. We're going to connect to this camera here. And then zoom update. We're going to connect to the camera. It's a child, so technically it shouldn't be that hard, but we'll do it with signals. It's better that way. Okay, so now we can actually go to the main camera and implement these. So we've got the FOV. So basically on this one, we are just gonna see, I set it up as an integer, so it's like 4x. After school 3 p.m, classes 3:30, 5:15 I go study, and then I have more classes, and coding comes somewhere in between. What do you have classes? I mean, I guess it's just different all over the world, right? Here, you just finish at like 3 o'clock and that's it for the rest of the day. We have a really relaxed structure, but maybe that's a problem because people don't seem to be that smart here, so... zoom. So the thing is, I'm saying it's a 4x zoom. What does that mean? You know, so if we do zoom increments of like 5, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. Just make it like 5. And then we just say zoom amount is equal to zoom increments multiplied by zoom FOV, and then we just change FOV and we pass in the zoom amount. And actually it's going to be default FOV minus zoom increments multiplied by zoom FOV. That's the actual formula I want. I like to learn new things. Completed some basic organic chem, by the way. I'm in 9th grade and organic chemistry is a class 11 here. That's pretty cool, dude. Don't rush things though. Just enjoy life. But yeah, I think it's like, if you're really driven like that, that's really awesome. I'm not. I'm the opposite. I have to really push myself to do anything. Okay, so, and then for the reset, we are just going to pass in the default zoom. Okay. Yes. Have a good one, man. I'll see you later. Let's see what happens. Not bad. Not bad. Looks all right. It's probably a little bit too subtle of a zoom. So let's just go back to those increments and make them 10. That's pretty cool, right? I like it. The only thing now is to really like animate the weapon. It's such a smooth zoom too. Like I hit the nail on the head with those tween settings. Cool. The only other thing I would say is that probably we want to do like a couple of different things. Like maybe we fade in the zoom overlay. How you do that is kind of a question for maybe another time. I don't know. Like coming up to one. Yeah. Introducing stories on Twitch. I should post stories. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so we're starting to see things rolling. So the question is now, like, could you create something different? So that's going to be the next test. And then obviously we're going to have to start storing this information, which I guess we'll worry about that later. Like obviously, at the start of this, I was looking at the saves, being able to save this information as a resource. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. It doesn't seem like the right choice based on the advice in the GitHub and you guys on Twitch. So we'll look into creating something for that. But since that is more involved than resource saver and loader, then we'll leave that till the end. Let's just make it and then worry about storing it later. But yeah, that's cool. All right. Cool. What are we doing? Let's raid somebody. Who would we like to raid? A camel and coffee building a Spotify app. Godot, I can't send you to Road the Otome because it's a Spanish channel and that didn't work out so well last time. Oh look, Captain Coda is doing some Godot. Looks like we'll go there. Alright guys, it's been a really good stream. It's a bit of a shorter one this time. I don't know, it's just I started a little bit later. But we'll do it again sometime for sure. Let's have a look at the supporters before I go. I need to shout them out. I really need to create a screen. I got so much work to do. Shout out number 5. I think it's just the GIMP file at this point. Loading data, loading everything. Okay, so these are the supporters. Thank you guys. Jips, Hazza, Color Pants, Rap, Big Green, Nike, Jice, Bricky T, YGG, Scoremonger, and Mr. Sparkle here on Twitch, which is pretty awesome. So I really appreciate all the support. Mr. Sparkle, I don't know if I've seen you in stream since he subbed, but I think, I can't see why you wouldn't be entitled to the Patreon perks as well. So if you see this at some point, reach out and I'll see how I can get them to you. I need to set up a system for that too. So lots of work. Alrighty guys, it's been real. I'll see you next time. And I press this button, right? And then I stop streaming. Alright guys, thank you.